Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, when did this stop feeling like my body? You're not alone. One day you're gardening, walking to the mailbox, holding your grandchild, and the next everything feels just a little heavier, a little slower, like time quietly changed the rules on you. Turning 80 isn't just another birthday. It's a powerful turning point. Your body, your memories, your relationships, even the way you see time itself, everything starts to shift in ways no one warns you about. But here's the good news: with those changes come hidden gifts, wisdom, clarity, freedom, and in this video, I'll walk you through 12 undeniable truths of life after 80 that no one talks about, but every senior eventually feels. These aren't just facts. They're life lessons told through the quiet courage of people like you. Before we begin, I'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching from, and what time of day is it right now? Drop it in the comments. I truly look forward to reading them, even the small, quiet moments of your day. And if this message speaks to you, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the stories that matter most. Truth 1. The old body speaks more than the will. At some point, every senior in America wakes up to a subtle but undeniable truth. The body starts speaking louder than the will. You may still feel 30 in your heart, still picture yourself dancing at your cousin's wedding in Chicago or hiking through the red rocks of Sedona. But then your knees creak as you get out of bed, or your hands tremble slightly as you reach for your morning coffee. It's not weakness, it's not failure, it's biology. As we age, the cartilage in our joints gradually wears down, reducing the natural cushion that once made movement effortless. This is why simple acts like climbing the stairs or walking through the grocery store in Arizona heat can feel like small battles. The nerves in our hands, once sharp and steady, now respond more slowly, sometimes misfiring, sometimes just not cooperating the way they used to. And yet the mind keeps dreaming. You still want to plant a spring garden, take that train ride along the California coast, or hold your grandchild without wincing. Here's the thing most doctors don't say out loud: aging isn't just about decline. It's about change and our ability to adapt to it with compassion. Instead of pushing through pain or pretending nothing's different, what if we simply paused and asked our bodies, what do you need today? Maybe it's a gentler walk at the park instead of the treadmill. Maybe it's trading the heavy lifting for stretching and breathing. Science shows that listening to your body through mindful movement, physical therapy, or even proper hydration can slow down degeneration and reduce inflammation. Across the U.S., more seniors are embracing this shift, from Florida's senior yoga communities to balance classes in Denver designed to prevent falls. It's not about surrendering to age. It's about respecting the body that's carried you through 8 decades of love work, heartbreak, and hope. You haven't lost your strength. It's simply moved into your awareness, your patience, and your wisdom. And when you listen closely, your body will still lead you, just in a different rhythm than before. Truth 2. Time becomes fragile and precious. Somewhere around the age of 80, many older adults in America begin to realize something they never saw coming. Time changes its texture. It no longer stretches out like a long highway across Texas or a summer afternoon in Maine. Instead, it feels like fine sand slipping through your fingers, soft, silent, and impossible to hold on to. You start noticing the way morning light lands on your kitchen counter in the Midwest, how your coffee smells just a little richer, or how birdsong feels more personal, like it's singing to you. These aren't just moments, they're reminders that every breath, every blink, every hour is now a treasure, not a given. There's a biological reason behind this shift too. As we age, the brain's perception of time changes, due in part to slow dopamine production, which alters how we register new experiences. That's why memories from decades ago can feel more vivid than what you had for lunch yesterday, and why familiar routines now hold a deeper emotional weight. Many American seniors talk about how time feels faster, yet their bodies move slower, creating a strange dissonance between desire and reality. It's not easy. Especially in a culture that often praises speed and productivity slowing down, can feel like falling behind. But in truth, slowing down is a form of wisdom. In states like Oregon and Vermont, communities are redefining aging, not by what you can do fast, but by what you can feel fully. Whether it's writing letters, walking the dog, or listening to an old record, these small, steady acts become sacred. Time at this stage of life isn't just passing, it's offering. And when you learn to sit with it, to let it unfold without rushing, you begin to discover what many younger people never will, the extraordinary beauty of the ordinary. Truth 3. Memories are both clear and faint. Sometimes memory in old age feels like walking through a familiar American town where the buildings are still there, but the street names are missing. You remember the feeling of your first kiss under a Kansas sunset, or the sound of your baby's laugh echoing through a house in Ohio, but you might forget what you ate yesterday or where you placed your reading glasses this morning. This is more common than many seniors are told. As we age, the hippocampus, a part of the brain responsible for storing new memories, naturally shrinks, making it harder to hold on to recent details. Yet at the same time, the amygdala, which stores emotional memories, remains remarkably strong. That's why you can still feel the deep ache of a loss from 50 years ago, or the warmth of your mother's hug when you were 10. In America, where independence is deeply valued, forgetting can feel like losing control. But memory loss isn't always a sign of something wrong. It's a shift in how the brain prioritizes what matters most, emotion over detail. And here's the hopeful part. Even when the facts fade, the feelings stay. That means love lasts, laughter lingers. Grief remains a part of you, not to hurt you, but to honor what mattered. Across the U.S., from memory cafes in Portland to storytelling workshops in Minnesota, older adults are learning to hold on to what counts most. Journaling, music therapy, and even familiar scents can help anchor emotions in the present. So if you sometimes forget names or lose your train of thought, be kind to yourself. You haven't lost your memories, you've simply kept the ones that shaped your soul. And those are the memories that truly tell your story. Truth 4. Loneliness doesn't knock, but still comes. In loneliness in old age doesn't always arrive with a bang. It slips in quietly like a cold wind under the door of a house in upstate New York. One day the phone rings less. The grandkids are growing fast, busy with soccer practice and college life in distant states. Old friends move away or pass on, and the house that once buzzed with voices now hums with silence. This experience isn't unique. Across America, millions of older adults live alone, from small towns in Iowa to apartments in Los Angeles, facing a kind of social isolation that slowly wears on the heart. And it's not just emotional. Scientific studies from the National Institutes of Health show that prolonged loneliness can raise cortisol levels, increase blood pressure, and even weaken immune function, putting seniors at greater risk for illness and cognitive decline. But here's something hopeful. The same brain that registers pain from loneliness also lights up when we feel connection, even small ones. That means one smile, one kind conversation, one new friend can begin to reverse that damage. People like Clara have found community again in the most unexpected places, chatting with her neighbor, while checking the mail, joining a book club at the local library, or attending weekly Tai Chi at the senior center in Nashville. These aren't just hobbies, they're lifelines. They remind us that connection doesn't end with age, it simply changes shape. You might not host big holiday dinners anymore, but a cup of coffee with a neighbor or sharing stories at a community group can bring back the warmth you thought was gone. Loneliness may be real, but so is your ability to reach out, to rebuild, and to rediscover the simple joy of being seen and heard. And in America's ever-growing senior population, you are never as alone as you think. Truth 5. A forgiving heart is a gentle heart. As we grow older in America, especially past 70 or 80-something, begins to shift deep inside, not in the bones, but in the heart. The grudges we once held tightly, The arguments that echoed for years start to feel heavier than they're worth. It might be a sibling who wronged you decades ago, a friend who disappeared without saying goodbye, or even regrets about yourself. In cities like Boston or small towns across Missouri, many seniors quietly carry emotional burdens that have followed them for half a lifetime. But science tells us something powerful. Holding on to resentment increases stress hormones like cortisol, weakens the immune system, and may even worsen heart health over time. Bitterness, though invisible, takes a physical toll, and our aging bodies feel it more than ever. That's why forgiveness becomes not a gift for others, but a healing act for yourself. It doesn't mean forgetting or pretending you weren't hurt. It means saying, I deserve peace more than I need to stay angry. People like Clara, an 80-year-old from Pennsylvania, found this out the quiet way by writing letters she never sent, by praying, or by simply saying, it's time to let this go. The relief didn't come all at once, but over weeks and months, her chest felt lighter, her sleep deeper, her smile more natural. In senior communities across the U.S., from churches in Georgia to mindfulness circles in California, older adults are rediscovering that letting go isn't weakness, it's strength. It's saying, I've lived too long and loved too deeply to carry this any further. Because in the final chapters of life, peace becomes more valuable than being right, and a forgiving heart is often the healthiest one of all. Truth 6. Small joys become sacred. In the later chapters of life, especially for seniors living across America, joy begins to wear a different outfit. It comes dressed in simplicity. It's no longer about big celebrations or packed calendars. Instead, it might be the quiet of a morning in Maine, sipping a warm cup of tea while the sun pours through the kitchen window. Or the sound of your great-grandchild giggling at something silly like a spoon balanced on their nose at Sunday dinner. What once felt ordinary now feels holy, and there's science behind that shift. As we age, our brains produce less dopamine, the reward chemical that once fueled our chase for success, adventure, or novelty. But in its place grows something more lasting, a deeper sensitivity to small, familiar pleasures, what researchers call emotional savoring. This is why an evening breeze in Arizona, or the smell of soil after rain in a Florida garden, can stir more emotion than a cross-country vacation ever did. It's not about slowing down, it's about waking up to the beauty that's always been there. In American culture, especially in places like New York or Chicago, we're often taught to measure life in milestones. But growing older teaches us something richer, that the real wealth is found in the in-between moments. The warm soup, the shared look, the favorite chair by the window. Many seniors, especially those living alone, ask, is there anything left to look forward to? And the answer, more often than not, is yes. Not in the future, but in the present you're already living. Happiness at this stage doesn't come with fireworks. It comes with peace, presence, and the gentle realization that life's smallest joys are also its greatest gifts. Truth 7. Your intelligence is a guiding light for others. In today's fast-paced America, where trends come and go quicker than the seasons in Michigan, something far more lasting often goes unnoticed: the quiet wisdom of older adults. Many seniors don't see themselves as wise, especially when they're trying to remember what day it is or where they place their glasses. But to younger people, from college students in Seattle to young parents in North Carolina, you're more than just a grandparent. You're a lighthouse. Neuroscience shows that with age, the brain becomes better at seeing the bigger picture. Older adults are often more emotionally balanced, more patient, and better at weighing long-term consequences. That's why when a young person faces a life decision, whether it's love, career, or parenting, they instinctively seek out someone who's lived through more than one storm. Take Clara, for example, an 82-year-old retired teacher from Ohio. Her granddaughter calls every Sunday, not for recipes, but for advice on love and life. Not because Clara has all the answers, but because she listens without judgment and speaks from a place of experience. In American culture, especially in places like New York or Los Angeles, youth is often glorified. But real strength isn't always loud. It's found in the soft-spoken stories passed down over coffee or the lessons shared during a quiet walk in the park. So if you've ever wondered whether your story still matters, know that it does. Even when you're not trying, your presence, your resilience, and your life lessons light the way for someone else. You are, without even knowing it, someone's compass. And in a country with over 54 million seniors, your collective wisdom is a national treasure, one worth listening to, honoring, and passing on. Truth 8. The body needs a new way of loving. By the time you reach 80, your body no longer responds to stress the way it used to back in your working years in Ohio or Texas. You might still want to push through the yard work or skip lunch to finish a project, but your body's asking for something different now. Not because it's giving up, but because it's finally asking to be loved in a new, gentler way. Across the U.S., more doctors are encouraging seniors to rethink how they care for their bodies, not to reverse aging, but to honor what the body has done. You've carried children, held down jobs, survived surgeries, long winters, and deep heartbreaks. This body, with its aches and changes, deserves more patience now than ever. Science backs this up. As we age, muscle mass naturally declines, metabolism slows, and sleep patterns shift. That's why small habits like daily stretching, light walking, and even a 20-minute nap after lunch can have a huge impact on both energy and mood. Nutrition plays a key role too. Lighter meals rich in fiber, healthy fats, and hydration help digestion and heart health, especially in states like Florida and Arizona, where dehydration is a common issue. Even timing matters. Eating dinner earlier can help you sleep better and avoid nighttime discomfort. In many American senior communities from California to North Carolina, you'll find chair yoga, walking clubs, and healthy cooking groups becoming more popular each year. Because people are realizing that taking care of yourself at this age isn't about trying to stay young. It's about respecting the journey your body's taken you on and choosing to move forward with kindness, not criticism. So no, you don't need to run marathons or chase a perfect diet. You just need to listen, adjust, and give your body what it's been quietly asking for: care, rest, and a little more grace. Truth 9. Regret will whisper, but acceptance will speak somewhere between the quiet afternoons and the slower mornings. Many older adults in America begin to hear a soft voice whispering from the past. It might come when you're folding laundry in your Denver apartment or watching the sunset over a Florida lake. It says things like, "What if I had taken that job?" or "Why didn't I say yes to that love?" And for a moment, regret can feel heavier than any physical ache. But here's what science and life both reveal. Regret is a normal part of aging. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making, stays active well into our later years. That's why you're still reviewing your life, still trying to make sense of the choices you made or didn't make. In American culture, especially in places like Los Angeles or New York, we're often taught to chase success, avoid mistakes, and seek perfection. But getting older gently reminds us that no life is perfect. And that's not a weakness, it's the most human truth of all. Many seniors find peace not by changing the past, but by reframing it. They begin to see that every detour, every heartbreak, every missed opportunity was still a step forward. Because even the wrong turns brought you somewhere meaningful. Maybe not where you expected, but often exactly where you were meant to be. Acceptance doesn't mean you stop caring, it means you stop punishing yourself. And when you do, something incredible happens. Your heart softens, your breathing deepens. You start to look at your life not as a list of what you missed, but as a story that was always yours. And in that story, even the quiet chapters have value, especially the ones that taught you to forgive yourself and keep going. Truth 10. Legacy is not what we leave behind, but who we become. In small towns across the Midwest and quiet neighborhoods in New Jersey, many older Americans are asking themselves a tender question: what will I leave behind? not in dollars or deeds, but in meaning, not in the size of a will, but in the weight of a memory. You see, legacy in later life doesn't always look like a building named after you or a famous invention. For most seniors, especially those in their 70s and 80s, it looks like something far more human. It's the way you loved your family through hard times, the way you stood up for what was right when it wasn't easy. It's the handwritten letter you mailed to your grandson in California, filled with stories he'll read when you're no longer there to tell them aloud. Science shows that storytelling in older adults strengthens emotional bonds across generations. It also activates areas of the brain tied to empathy and reflection, offering a sense of purpose that reduces depression and boosts well-being. Legacy at its core is not what we own. It's who we've become. It's the kindness you show the nurse at the VA clinic in Texas, the strength you offer your daughter when she's struggling with her own family, the courage it took to keep going even when the path was lonely. Across America, many older adults are discovering that they're already leaving a legacy, one conversation, one act of grace, one lesson at a time. It lives in the people who love you. It lives in the habits and values they'll carry forward. And often you're shaping it without even knowing. So know your legacy doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be true. Because that's the version of you the world will remember with warmth, respect, and quiet admiration. Truth 11. Beliefs or philosophies will settle deep. As the pace of life slows in your 80s, especially for many older adults across America, a quiet question begins to rise to the surface. What still gives life meaning when the routines fade, when the noise dies down, when the world moves on without asking? In places like rural Montana or busy corners of Atlanta, you'll often find older folks sitting quietly on their porches, watching the wind move through the trees, not searching for answers, but resting in the questions. Studies show that as we age, our brain becomes more focused on emotional regulation and meaning-making. That's why many seniors feel a natural pull towards spirituality reflection or deeper thinking, even if they've never been religious before. It's not always about church pews or prayer books, though. For many, faith still brings comfort. Sometimes it's as simple as breathing deeply beneath a big Texas sky or closing your eyes during morning coffee and whispering, "Thank you, I'm still here." Across the U.S., more seniors are turning to practices like meditation, gratitude journaling, or just walking slowly through nature. Because they're not looking to solve life anymore. They're learning to feel at peace with the mystery. You don't have to believe in a specific doctrine. You only need to feel connected to something larger than yourself. And when you do, even the hardest days feel a little more sacred and a little less alone. Truth 12. Love is the anchor that holds us to life. In your later years, especially across quiet homes and senior communities throughout America, love begins to take on a new, quieter shape. It's not the fiery passion of youth or the rush of romance seen in old movies. It's something deeper, softer, and more enduring. You feel it in the warmth of your daughter's hand as she helps you into the car, or the gentle smile of your grandson across the dinner table. Neuroscience shows that oxytocin, often called the love hormone, continues to play a crucial role in emotional well-being even into our 80s and 90s. And when we give or receive love, whether through conversation, touch, or presence, it literally helps lower blood pressure, reduce anxiety, and improve sleep. It's no wonder that many seniors say they feel most alive not during big events, but during small, shared moments of connection. In places like Boston, Portland, or Tulsa, seniors are discovering that love isn't something you outgrow, it's something that grows with you. Even self-love, the kind that forgives old mistakes and embraces aging, becomes a form of healing. Because in the end, love doesn't weigh you down. It anchors you gently right where you're meant to be. As we've journeyed through these 12 quiet truths about life after 80, I hope you felt seen, understood, and maybe even gently reminded of your own strength. Getting older isn't about losing who you were, it's about honoring who you become and learning to live with more peace, more grace, and more love in each passing day. These tips are shared for general awareness. If you're facing any health challenges, be sure to check with your doctor before trying anything new. Every body's different, and yours deserves the right care and attention. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Was there a part of this video that touched you deeply or made you reflect? Leave a comment below and share your thoughts, or simply type the word hope if that's what you're carrying with you today. And if this message meant something to you, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this video with a friend, a sibling, or someone you care about. You never know whose heart it might reach. Wherever you are, in a quiet home in Oregon or a cozy porch in Georgia, may you feel comforted by the small joys, surrounded by gentle love, and guided by the wisdom that only a life well lived can offer. Take care, and thank you for spending this time with me.